Greetings Internet, and welcome back for another Oxleymations presentation. So for today's video, if it wasn't evidenced by the title right down here, from the title right down here below Big Frank and Old Jack over here, we're going to be taking a look at some more stuff that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. Yes, because apparently I have a little bit of a problem with buying random stuff online. But, you know, for those who've watched my channel for as long as they have, well, for any extended period of time, that's a no-brainer. Anyway, with that said, I only bought a few things this time, and in either the previous video or the next video, more than likely it's going to be the next video, I purchased another Knucklehead Smith ventriloquist puppet, which marks my third one. But that's neither here nor there. That's in that video. And if it's already up, I'll post it right up here. And if not, then in that video, I'll post a link to this video. Alright, so like I said before, I purchased some stuff from old Facebook Marketplace, and I took the liberty of peeling off all the packaging stuff, all the labels, so I don't dox myself. And we're going to be opening this little box, because like I said, I didn't get that much. I think I only bought like 4 different action figures. With that said, though, let's go ahead and get our samurai sword letter opener, and let's dig into this thing. So I'm not entirely sure how this box is supposed to open. Oh, never mind, I see it. It's one of those flap kind of boxes. Alright, so we dig the sharp end of our little itty bitty knife here into the tape right around the middle, and let the sawing commence, keeping our fingers well back from it so we don't cut ourselves. Okay, there's one side. Now one side officially open. Oh, this one's a lot easier than that one. Alright, now one incision, one slice right along the center. I really hope I'm not damaging the action figures that I purchased. Okay, knives down, blades down I should say, and flap number one. Oh, apparently they taped the bubble wrap into the tape. Alright, good. There was a protective layer of bubble wrap, which would explain why the items inside were not moving around all that much when I shook it around. Okay, so it looks like they put the items in the bubble wrap itself, which they did. Good. So now there's an empty box, and I can just toss that off to the side. And contained within this bubble wrap are several pieces that I've been trying to get my hands on for a while, but again, as is the usual case, I only want to spend a certain amount when it comes to the toy lines and the action figures and the things I pick up, and people a lot of the time want a different amount that I want to pay. And well, it's a waiting game, finding the right item, the right piece that I need for a collection for the right price. I don't know why I'm doing this so much. Nah. So like I showed you, got the bubble wrap out of the box. Just gonna slowly open this up. Okay, apparently I only got 3 things this time around. Oh, that's right, I had to put aside a couple of other things because they would have made this a little too expensive for what I wanted to pay. Alright, so let's see. There's one item in here that I actually had as a child. So I'm gonna not start off with that one. We're just gonna leave that one right over here for the moment, off camera. So these are a couple of really cool items. I'm going to check one of them real quick because it has a battery function, and I'm not sure if this thing is still going to work, but if it does, it's going to be the very first thing we look at. It still kind of works. From Goosebumps, you know, from this brand back here, a book series written by R.L. Stine, which began publishing, I believe, in 1992 from Scholastic. I think they might have also been Parachute Press at one time, if not both. We have the Mudman from the Goosebumps line of collectibles. This is the second of the Goosebumps collectibles that I've added to my collection. The first one is one of the Horrorland horrors, which I think, yep, there he is. One moment, folks. So I have the Horrorland horror. This guy I've got to do some work on because way back when someone put some batteries in this and they left them in there for over like 30 years. So the only part of his feature that worked was the little red light here on top. The screen was completely dead. And because I took the batteries out to clean up the battery compartment at some point, you know, it's not working presently. But this one, on the other hand, this is what this one was supposed to do. Give or take. Obviously, the scream is supposed to be a little more bombastic than that. Pretty sure these only take AAA batteries. So yeah, these guys I'm going to set aside for a video coming out this Halloween, this Oxtoberfest. But I am really glad I finally got to add another one of the Goosebumps collectibles to my collection for a reasonable price. Because for whatever reason, these goofy little things, especially if they still work, go for a fair amount that I'm usually not willing to pay. They've all got... Well, I'm going to stop right there. I was about to start going into detail talking about these things, but like I said, I got a video idea for these. So we're just going to put these two in the background right over here and move on to the next item. Okay. So for anyone who grew up in the 90s like I did, or in the late 80s even, into the early 90s, y'all are familiar with a certain group of Teenage Mutant Ninja crime fighters. You know, the Turtles, as it were. These fellas right up here, Ninja Turtles. Well, there were a plethora of, I want to say, copycat toy lines that came out around that time. There were, like, Street Sharks, there was the Biker Mice from Mars, all kinds of crazy fun shows like that. But one show that kind of fell through the cracks, not a lot of people talk about, is Bucky O'Hare. You know, Bucky, Captain Bucky O'Hare, bad guys and villains, evildoers to beware. If you're looking for adventure, well, this is it. With Deadeye Bucky Blinky and Willie DeWitt, I said Bucky, Captain Bucky O'Hare. You know, that show. Anyway, I've been, you know, every now and then picking up one of these figures when I can find them for cheap. And this was another figure that I've been trying to pick up for that line, which is the Berserker Baboon. I forget exactly what his name is, other than, you know, Berserker Baboon. Regardless, I've been wanting to pick him up for a while now, because, I mean, look at that guy. He is just cool. So, seems like his legs are a little loose, probably got played with a lot by some child somewhere, and I'm just going to go ahead and hold him like this, because I just realized he's apparently supposed to have some kind of a, I don't know, belt accessory or something to cover up his midsection. Not that you'll see anything, it's an action figure based on a cartoon. He's null, as in there's nothing there. But at the same time, you know, in case YouTube decides to get funny and go, hey, hey, hey. Anyway, so I picked that little guy up. He seems to be in really good shape. There's a bit of discoloration going on in the head, the upper arms, well, the arms in general, and the chest paint. Because I believe that's supposed to be a lighter blue, but it's gone fairly dark over the years. And apparently the guy who bought these, the guy who sold this to me, neglected to take the price sticker off of this one. So apparently he bought this for $3 and then sold it to me along with the other items for a larger amount, we'll say. So just going to go ahead and gently peel that price sticker off of the bottom of his foot. I'm curious if the guy bought this at like a flea market or like a collectibles store. Maybe he picked it up at a collectibles show. I do not know. All I know is I got what I believe to be a fairly good deal on these, especially for the Mudman back there. Alright, almost got it, folks. One more second here, and missed a little tiny bit. Just scrape that off with my thumbnail. There we go. Sticker is gone. Yeah, there's the Berserker Baboon from Bucky O'Hare. Like I said, that's another line I've been collecting off and on. Let's see, I've got Bucky, I believe I've got Deadeye, I know I've got Blinky, the little robot dude, oh, Calamity and Woe, that little guy. I don't have Willie DeWitt. I've got the Toad Air Marshal, and I think that's all I've got presently. Well, aside from him. Now I can proudly add him to the collection, so we'll go ahead and stick him over here with the other two. And now, this one. This is a toy I've been trying to get my hands on for a while. So this is a toy that I had as a child for a very brief time. I remember very distinctly, my mother and I were at a Family Dollar, which I don't know if that's regional or what have you, but essentially it's just a dollar store with family in front of it. It was like its own chain. Then there's Dollar General, etc., etc. We were in this particular dollar store for something. Obviously, I can't remember what, because it was something my mother needed to get, and while I was tagging along with her because, well, she didn't have a babysitter for me or anything silly like that. That's beside the point. And while we were walking through the store, on one of the little side tabs, the end caps, that's the word I'm looking for, there was a display of action figures. And there was one that caught my eye, thanks to a particular cartoon that I really liked at the time. A cartoon starring a certain undead ghoul, if you will, a storytelling undead ghoul, if that's starting to give you any hints as to what this toy is. Yes, friends, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and everyone in between, if you guessed it, I'm very actually proud of you. I picked up the Crypt Keeper action figure back when I was like really, really little. It's from a series called Tales from the Crypt Keeper, which was an animated series, an offshoot of the HBO series, which was just Tales from the Crypt Keeper. But I'm not going to go into too much detail right now because, well, I've already done a video on these toys. If you look right up here, I'll drop a link to that. At that time, when I recorded that video, I think I had the same amount of figures that I currently have. I don't think I've added any to the collection since then. I'm 4 away, technically, from having the full set. But I'm missing the second large-size talking Crypt Keeper, and I'm missing the werewolf, I'm missing the zombie, and I was missing this Crypt Keeper. Because there were, aside from the two big ones, there were two different versions, Old Crypty, that were made. There was one with him wearing a tuxedo, and he's kind of got this pose going on, almost like I'm a little teapot, short and stout. And then there was this one. So, as I was alluding to before, I had this Crypt Keeper when I was just a little kid. And this was around the era where I was, like, really big into Toy Story. And because this little idiot saw that movie when I did, I was under the impression that, you know, that toys were alive. And I remember this very distinctly. I had the toy open. I forget if it was already when I got in the car, I had the thing out of the packaging or whatever. But I had the action figure, and I forget the exact conversation I had with my mom, but I essentially convinced her to let me put my brand new, fresh out of the box, robed Crypt Keeper, you know, this guy, behind the wheel of her car, and to have her back her car up towards said toy, thinking in my stupid little child brain that, oh, he'll move. And my mom was like, I don't know, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure, Mom, I'm sure, I swear. He's gonna move out of the way. I'm telling you, he's gonna get out of the way, he's gonna be fine. You can guess how that went. My mother relented. She let me put the toy face down on the ground like this, right behind her car tire. I climbed back in the back seat of the car, closed the door. She got back in the driver's seat. She begrudgingly, she was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, Mom, sure. I'm absolutely sure. It's gonna work. He's gonna be fine." She begrudgingly put the car in reverse, backed up about a foot, and from where I was seated, I just heard the crunch of the plastic of his robe just being crushed by that car tire. And then she put it back in drive, pulled forward about a foot to where she had been previously, and put it in park. I excitedly hopped out of the car, looked, and there was my action figure crushed to pieces on the pavement behind the tire where I had put him. And I was, on the one hand, I was sad because, you know, he didn't get out of the way in time, which was what I thought in my head. But I was like, oh, well, that's okay. I can fix him. I can put him back together. You know, we've got all the parts right here. And my mom was like, no, I'm sorry. But, you know, we could glue it back. No. And, well, that Crypt Keeper went to the great toy box in the sky, aka the city landfill. And I had forgotten about that toy for years after that. But then, when I got into toy collecting, I came across the Crypt Keeper action figures because I was really into horror and stuff back in high school. See, does your action feature still work? Yeah, kind of. What he's supposed to do, let me see if I can get his limbs where they're supposed to be, is he's supposed to make kind of a walking action and, you know, turn his head side to side like so. There we go. That's got it. He's supposed to make a motion like this. But I was so excited to have this toy, and then my dipstick little self had my mother destroy it just to prove a point, which it turned out that I was very wrong about. But now that doesn't matter. I own him again. And way back in the day when I first had this toy, he was so much bigger because I was so much smaller. Anyway, that's enough out of me about that little action figure. I'm hoping, using the rest of this year, because I've got between now and October 31st, to track down the other 2 figures, potentially 3, if I can get my hands on the Hawaiian talking Crypt Keeper, to make a video about these guys again. So stay tuned for that. I'm just so happy to have this goofy little action figure again. This is my second chance owning a Crypt Keeper action figure, and I'm just so glad I have this thing again. I'm not going to get emotional, even though I feel it trying to well up in the back of my, back of my face, feeling the, when you're getting ready to cry or something like that. It's weird to get emotional over an action figure, but good to have you back, little buddy. I know you're not the exact Crypt Keeper I had back then, because that one got thrown in the trash. But God, it's good to have you back. Okay, everyone, so before I start getting any more emotional or acting any more, creepy over a goofy little action figure, I'm gonna just put him on the shelf over here. Make sure he's standing good and proper so he doesn't fall down and break himself. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you all so very much for coming back and tuning into one of my videos. I do truly and greatly appreciate it, and each and every single one of you. If you like what you've seen here today, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the little bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Once you are subscribed, you'll be glad you did. And feel free to share my content with your friends if you think they'll like them. If you're not sure, share it anyway. You could be surprised. And with all of that out of the way, this is your old pal Oxleymations saying, Cowabunga, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Later.